Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a juicing recipe, and I chose this recipe today because it's super duper easy for beginners to make. It's also kid friendly and it has tons of great health benefits. So this is the recipe for my ABC juice. So like I mentioned, this recipe is super easy and simple. It literally just calls for 3 ingredients and then it has 2 optional ingredients. So you can see here we have apples. This is about 3 pounds of apples, a 3-pound bag of Honeycrisp apples. We have about 3 pounds of beetroot, and I'm going to be using the actual root of the beet as well as the green leafy tops here. The green leafy tops are filled with all kinds of nutrients, so I'm going to be using those as well. And then this is 3 pounds of carrots. So that's what ABC stands for, apple, beet, carrot. And then the 2 optional ingredients we have here are some lemons, just for like a little bit of extra tartness and a few extra health benefits, and then some ginger root as well. So I have about ½ pound of ginger root back there, and then 2 lemons. So let's go ahead and get all of this prepped and ready to juice. So the juicer that I'm going to be using today is the Nama J2 cold press juicer. I absolutely love this juicer. If you guys are interested in a juicer, I highly recommend checking this one out. It's just the easiest juicer I've ever owned. It's super duper easy to clean. You can make big batches of juice in it, which is what I absolutely love because I hate having to make individual juices and then clean the whole juicer and everything like that. So if you guys are interested, I will drop the link for this in the description below. But yeah, I highly recommend this juicer. So as I'm prepping the produce, I'm just going to be kind of talking to you guys about how I do my batch juicing. Like I'm sure you've noticed, this is a very large amount of ingredients, and that's because this is not a recipe that's just going to make one juice. It's actually going to make about a gallon of juice. And the reason I like to make juice in such big batches is because I know the juicing can be really time consuming for a lot of people. And then I think mainly like the cleanup is like what seems so daunting to people, like to pull everything out and have to do all this and then clean the juicer, especially cleaning the juicer from start to finish. All of that work just for one juice is definitely a lot. And so I like to make my recipes in gallons. And it fills about, I'll show you guys my setup in a second here when I finish with this, but it fills up about 8 of the 16-ounce jars. And they're perfect if you get the glass jars because you can just freeze them and save them for the rest of the week. And it just makes it super duper quick and easy. So you can see here, I'm just cutting the apples in half. The Nama can manage the apples cut in half, but depending on what kind of juicer you have, you might want to cut these in quarters, or even if you have a juicer that can handle them whole, certain juicers can handle them whole, so you can even also consider doing that. But I just cut these in half. This is super duper quick and easy for the Nama. Oh, I missed one. All right, so that's the apples. This is 3 pounds of apples. Next, to prep the lemons, I'm just gonna like peel them like with the knife, kind of like how you would just skin it, I guess, like an orange or something. But I just cut the ends off and then I'm just gonna peel it just like this. And then you can see I'm left with like a naked lemon here, and it's pretty simple, and you just get all the peel off. And yeah, you do 2 lemons just like this. Just a quick note about the ginger root. You do want to be super careful with this because ginger is really strong. And so honestly, you might even want to be careful with starting with ½ pound. I just do ½ pound because that's about, you know, the tolerance that I can handle in my juices. But I recommend just starting with like about a thumb size or 2, like about the size of your thumb. Just start with like 1 or 2 of those and see how well you tolerate it before adding more to your juices because it is really powerful. And then for the beets, like I mentioned, I am also going to be using the leafy green tops here. So I'm just going to kind of give this a little twist. Just take the top off, and then I'm going to also kind of twist this a little bit. The way the Nama works, you want to be careful not putting these too long in the juicer, like too much length on them, because they will get wrapped around the auger. So just give them like a good twist and make sure that they're small enough before you put them in the juicer. And then for the actual root part itself, beets also kind of have like a really strong earthy flavor, so you just want to be mindful of that. If you don't really like the really strong earthy flavor, what you can actually do is you can peel these, and that'll kind of take away some of the earthiness of them. But I don't really mind it, so I'm not going to peel mine. But like I said, if you don't want that super earthy flavor, you can just give your beets a little peel, and that'll make it a little bit more tolerable. So I'm just going to cut the ends off. And then for the Nama, I'm probably going to cut this in about quarters, I would say. I'm just going to cut this in half both ways. Just like that. And you're left with 4 pieces. And then lastly for the carrot, I like to kind of give these just like a little bit of a rough chop. Like I'm not going to cut them into super tiny pieces or anything like that because honestly it's just too time consuming for me. But I'm also not going to leave them whole because they just won't fit in the nama if they're completely whole. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of a rough chop. But if you do have a juicer that's like where the shoot goes straight down, you can see that you can honestly just like put these straight into the juicer. So it kind of just depends on what type of juicer you have. But since I have the nama, like I said, I'm just going to kind of give them a rough chop just like this. And I like to do like a bunch at once. So I might grab like, you know, about 3 and then just give them like a quick little rough chop just like this. All right, so I've got all of my produce prepped and now we're gonna take it over to the juicer and juice it all up. So like I was mentioning, I do like to do a big batch of juice all at once. And so I'm gonna kind of show you guys my setup for that. I think it's super important to go ahead and prep your produce ahead of time like I just did. And you see it, I kind of have it here sitting in these bowls. So that way I can just super easily get it all into the juicer, juice it up. And then I also have here a big bowl that I'm going to be pouring the juice into. And I can link this below. This is part of like a nesting bowl set, but this is just a big mixing bowl where I'm going to be pouring the juices as they're made. Back here, you can see I have a strainer and just like another little mixing bowl to catch the liquid that's coming out after I strain the juices. I have a pitcher. This is a gallon-sized pitcher that I'm going to be using to get it into the jars. And then these are the glass jars that I was mentioning. These are just like 16-ounce glass jars with little plastic lids that screw on. And these are great because you can put them in the freezer. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just make a big batch of juice for the week and I'll either just drink it all during the week, like kind of throughout the week because they do last about 4 days in the fridge, or you can just put them in the freezer with these glass jars. So that's why these are just great. And so yeah, that's my setup. And now I'm gonna get through the juicing. So now I'm all finished with the juicing, and I just want to show you guys a quick shot of why I decided to double strain my juices. You can see almost like this applesauce-like consistency. I mean, I think it's really just extra pulp comes out of the juices, even though it does get collected in the pulp collector here. And it'll be the same with any fast juicer. Like, it's just not going to be able to get every little bit of pulp out. So that's why I just like to double strain mine so that they're extra, extra smooth. And like I said, I have it all poured into this big bowl here, and now I'm going to get it into the pitcher. So that wraps it up for this video, guys. Like I mentioned, this recipe is super easy to make. It's great for beginners, and it tastes great too. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. That way you won't miss future recipes that I'm going to be putting out every Thursday. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. I would greatly appreciate it. And please also follow me on Instagram, and I'll drop my handle down here for you to follow me there. You guys can DM me with any questions or requests for future videos, and I would love to connect with you. And I also wanted to mention that if you're needing help or support getting started on your health journey, please be sure to check out my free Facebook group. It's called Raw and Real, and I'll put the link for it in the description as well for you to join. But it's just a place where we can come, we can talk about health, how we're on our health journeys, and it looks at a complete picture of health. So the raw part of the title relates to raw food, juicing, fasting, and things like that. And the real part of the title relates to authenticity and being your 100% self. So just making sure we're doing a complete picture of health. And yeah, if you need support or community, I hope to see you in there. Besides that, guys, stay tuned and I'll see you in the next one.